Yeah, we've had to change everything about the way we dreamed our pregnancy and birth would go. My name is Jodi Hollingshead. I live here in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I'm a photographer / stay-at-home mom. We actually found out we were pregnant 2 weeks before everything shut down. So we had about 2 weeks of celebration. We hadn't told anybody. And so those first couple of months being pregnant when the pandemic was new to everyone, was pretty scary. Our social and family life is a very important part of our life. And so to be isolated at all is hard for us, but especially while we were pregnant and while we were getting ready to welcome this new human in our lives. She was born in October of 2020, and we were actually a little bit lucky because that was a little bit of a window of time where cases were lower before the holidays. But the hospital restrictions were still pretty tight, so we couldn't have any family in the hospital for when she was born or labor or anything like that. It was just the two of us, and that was certainly different than we'd expected. Because like I said, we're really close to our family, and so we've always sort of imagined a waiting room full of people waiting to hear the news of the baby's arrivals. And then the other tough thing, my daughter had to do a short stay in the NICU because of some breathing trauma that happened during birth. She's okay now, but because of the pandemic, the visitation in the NICU was not what we would have liked. We had to sign up for visits to see her for the first 4 days of her life. I didn't get the skin to skin that I would have liked because if you're not breastfeeding, you had to keep a fresh gown on in the NICU to protect everybody. So as soon as we started to learn that vaccines were likely going to be our way out of this isolated life, Ricky and I were immediately on board. Ricky follows the news and science developments pretty closely. That's my husband. And I didn't expect to be able to get vaccinated while I was pregnant, but I was ready to. If it was somehow miraculously going to be ready before the baby was born, I was absolutely ready to get vaccinated should that be an option. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But it's always been a yes for us. I mean, we get vaccinated for all sorts of things. Why wouldn't we get vaccinated for this? We were in such a sad and lonely situation being pregnant and starting our family that we just wanted it to end. And we really trusted the people who were in charge of things. We know that even though it was released quickly, it wasn't developed quickly, that the science behind the vaccines has been around for a long time, and that helped us with any nerves that we might have had. I did ask one of the midwives their thoughts, and they at the time didn't know a whole lot about pregnancy safety, but since we knew that they weren't going to be ready until after I had the baby, she was an advocate for them. She was ready to tell people to get them if they were able to. We were able to get vaccinated over in Fairmont on March 17th, and that was after really only a couple of weeks of calling around trying to get, because we had a 3-4-month-old at that point. She was 3 or 4 months old, so we were especially ready to have that one layer of protection for her, especially. It's always been about her. So I pretty early on made the decision not to breastfeed at all, and That was for mostly mental health reasons. It was hard enough being a new mom in a pandemic, and I knew that breastfeeding would be tough on me mentally and emotionally. So when the evidence started coming out that babies could potentially get antibodies passed through breast milk, it was a little bit tough to hear, because had I known that she could have gotten some protection from my having gotten the vaccine, I absolutely would have breastfed. So that was tough. However, we'd like to add another baby to our family, so that's great news for the second baby, and I will absolutely get any kind of booster that I need, hopefully while I'm pregnant, to be able to twice over protect that baby in the future, and I'll likely breastfeed as well. While I absolutely understand why a pregnant person would be hesitant to get vaccinated while pregnant, we have been doing this long enough to know that the numbers are in favor of vaccination, and that it's actually quite dangerous to be pregnant and not vaccinated. The vaccines have been around long enough for us to see some really solid evidence that vaccines are safe for pregnancy, safe for people who are interested in having babies in the future. It doesn't negatively impact fertility. It's your best bet for a healthy pregnancy and baby in the future.